For as long as you've been in business, you've heard this advice that you should niche down, but for some reason, it just hasn't worked for you. And to the point where you stay away from the advice as much as possible because you already know how it's going to make you feel. You already know why it doesn't work for you, and you're just not sure if it ever will or can. And today, what I want to share with you is that there is a way where the actual goal of niching down can be achieved without going about it the way that you have been advised this entire time. So, if the phrase niche down makes you kind of squirm in your seat a little bit or roll your eyes, cool, you're in the right place. Right? You've heard it 100 times. Maybe tried it, you picked an industry, maybe wrote some copy, hired a copywriter, built a package around it, and nothing happened, or worse, it just made you feel boxed in, made you feel like you were leaving people behind, like you were excluding uh, all of the people who you could possibly help by focusing on this quote unquote niche. So the reason this typical approach doesn't fail is or this typical approach fails is because it forces you into a part of your imagination that you don't have evidence of. Part of your imagination where you haven't seen like reality. So therefore it's like a a bridge that you just can't cross. Right. So typically people will like pick a demographic or create an ideal client avatar. Right. Sally, she's 35, drives a Tesla, loves oat milk lattes. Right. And you write offers that speak to that one person, but something is not clicking or something doesn't click. The avatar doesn't feel real. The niche you picked up didn't line up with the clients who actually showed up, and now things are feeling smaller instead of bigger, and so here we are. Right, niching down doesn't work, hasn't worked. But the goal here isn't to get narrow. The goal is to get clear so that we can expand. So I think even the words niche and down, those things bring you into like a, it's like, okay, the point of that is obviously focus, but focus without the right kind of clarity doesn't allow you to expand. Right. So niching down can bring you into a scarcity mindset inadvertently. Right. And what we want to do is we want to get into an abundant mindset, and we get there through clarity first. Okay. And so, what is it that we need to be clear on? I'm going to break it down for you. Good news. First of all, you've been doing this for a long time, so you've got a lot of receipts. And the clarity that we need is, what is the value that you've been creating this entire time that you haven't put a label on it? You haven't put words to it. You've kind of just allowed it to evaporate, to exist. So I want you to ask yourself, who in your entire client roster over the past 5 to 10 years has gotten the most ROI from your offering? Who's gotten the most from what you already do? Then I want you to consider as well, okay, who's paid you the most? What has been your most profitable engagement? What was easiest to deliver for? And then finally, who would you be excited to work with again and again? So compile your list of past clients, all of them, and there's three categories I want you to sort for. Sort by highest ROI, meaning they got the most out of it. This doesn't matter how much you charged or whatever. You could have charged nothing. And they went on to grow $1 million business off of perhaps something you created, an asset, a website, maybe. Right? It's the first column. Sort by that. And then sort by your most profitable engagement. Right? So where was the margin the biggest for you? Where was it easy for you to deliver, lowest cost for you in delivery, but the impact or what you were able to capture was the most? So that's your most profitable. So it's going to be what was most profitable for them, sort. What was most profitable for you, sort. And then where would you be most excited to, who would you be most excited to work with again and again? So there we're optimizing and we're sorting for sustainability, right? Because you might have had some profitable client that you would never want to take up again, or you might have had some client who got a big ROI from working with you, but you didn't, feel great about what you put into it. Right? So we're looking for that Vesica Pisces that checks off all three of these columns to a degree where you can now kind of let whatever doesn't, what doesn't bubble up, you can let that fall down. And now you should start to have a little bit of clarity around, and it might feel uncomfortable at first to realize, wow, I've been doing all of this work this entire time, or I've been creating all of this value this entire time, and I haven't captured it. I haven't made it clear to myself, right? I've been so fixated or focused on just delivery or survival or whatever it is that you just hadn't taken the time to look at where the biggest upside of your business has already been. Once you're clear on it, though, and you can see the pattern, and there's that desire, or not even desire, that excitement to work with that particular kind of client again, the next question is, well, why haven't you? What's been getting in the way? What did you believe wasn't possible? Right? Maybe you just believe that they were a rare unicorn, and it's like, oh, probably won't land a client like that again, right? Maybe you thought you were lucky, but um, if you were lucky, that's good because I'm gonna make you more luckier. Because let's say hypothetically, right? Let's say right now in the past 6 months, you've had three boutique interior design clients reach out to you, right? Maybe they saw some work on your Instagram, or they saw something somewhere, or someone referred them and they reached out. From your perspective, you're feeling lucky. You're like, oh, wow, just so lucky, you know? But that luck is just the start, because what we want to do is we want to figure out, well, why now, right? Why are they reaching out now of all times, right? What is going on in their world that makes this urgent? Or what is going on in their world that makes this something that they want to act on now? The next thing you want to know is, how long have they been thinking about this thing? Like, how long has it been a consideration? It's a really important thing to note, because you might start to pick up some patterns that the thing that you deliver and you offer, people tend to think about it for a while. Maybe they think about it for a couple of years before they actually act on it. And when you're aware of that, it shifts your marketing and it shifts your expectations, because now you know that you can be marketing today for someone who might not become a client for 2 3 years, but because you have um, there's so much touch points, or there's so much surface area going on in your business, now you're building up a pipeline, a real pipeline of of future activity off of the work that you're doing today. So you're taking the luck of three serendipitous clients who showed up, and you're literally reverse engineering that serendipity to understand what made it actually happen, right? So if it was a referral, if someone referred them, what kind of words does that person use when they refer you? When the person who has been bringing you the most clients, right? Obviously, they have a network, right? Obviously, people trust them, right? Who else do you know who has that kind of network or that kind of trust? How can you engineer that kind of network and trust for yourself so that you don't have to be dependent or reliant on a referral source? So understanding as much of the reasoning, both the logical, rational reasoning why someone showed up ready to work with you, as well as the irrational, illogical reasoning that they may not have considered but was happening under the surface. The more you understand that, then the easier and the clearer it becomes, where it's like, okay, now I know exactly what I need to speak to through my marketing. And your marketing now becomes really just an act of service. It's no longer about your needs or what you want to get out of the equation. It comes from a place of awareness where okay, there are certain challenges and struggles that someone goes through before they're ready to work with me. And I have the ability and capacity to help them through that in advance so that when they show up, not only are they ready, but I'm also ready to serve. And there's a wonderful, beautiful, harmonious exchange. So I know this was about finding your niche. So that's the way, right? It's looking at your receipts and looking at where you've already been profitable, looking at where your clients have already gotten a huge return, and looking at where you would be excited to return, right? And that gives you what you need to be focused on. And once you're focused there, now you know what questions you need to ask, right? Which is, okay, well, right? How are these people finding me, right? What are they thinking? All of that stuff. And with that information, you are now armed and ready to quite literally multiply your business, because you're no longer operating from a diluted positioning where, it's you're just anything for anyone, right? Now the people who you've been the most for, you can be the most for the people like them as well. And it becomes very clear and easy for the market to understand, because you have gained the understanding that the market might not already have. So that's what I have for you today. Um, Not sure if I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, but we just started the first 90-day double your Squarespace business intensive yesterday. But if you'd like to join the next cohort, the waitlist is open. So sqsbthemes.com/waitlist. All you got to do is enter your name and email. And, excuse me, between now and I open the list back up in the beginning of October, you'll get some emails, kind of like what I just shared here, that will help you to see clearly what you're already sitting on, see the value and the potential assets that you probably haven't realized. But my goal is to help you unearth them and bring them out into the marketplace and serve at your highest and best level, because that's what makes the world a better place, when everyone is operating at that and from that. Peace.